23dB Production Studios in the Garden State, New Jersey, this is The Art of Music Tech with your hosts, Fela and Dennis.
Let's go, and welcome to the Art of Music Tech podcast. Thank you for listening, sharing via YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all good things that have podcasts. Let's go. I'm your host, Fela, and I'm here with Dennis, and we're here with the legendary Kwiz, who's out, just came back from the On the Run Tour 2. Whew, man. One of the hottest tours out there. Well, it just wrapped a few weeks ago. And he's also a producer doing projects for ESPN as well. This is part 2. We went through a lot of heartbreak and growing pains on that first one. But now we're going to go into the victory run. And we're going to we're going to talk about those two very major clients for you that keep you busy year round, pretty much. So let's go. And how did, I guess we'll start off. Which one was first? Was the ESPN thing first or Beyonce? Which?
No, ESPN definitely first, but before ESPN, it was HBO.
Oh, yeah.
So, I got my manager got a call, and they wanted some closing theme music for a documentary on HBO called The Execution Machine. And it was about Texas death row inmates, you know what I mean? So, this was after my Capitol Records deal and all that stuff. And so I wrote the closing music for that, and that was my first television piece, you know what I mean? And that opened the door for other TV work. And how I got ESPN, my girlfriend at the time was a neighbor to this woman that worked for the NBA, and she worked for the entertainment industry, entertainment section of the NBA, like, promotion and all that stuff. My girlfriend said, my boyfriend's a producer and he writes music and whatever. So there was a show called NBA All Access, right? And there was basically a sports show that came on Saturdays and whatever, and they wanted a theme. So they asked me if I would write a theme. Here goes a little bit of heartbreak. Just a little bit. It's life.
It's life, yeah.
So when they asked me to do it, my dad had literally just died, right? And I was just like, I was just a mess. Like, psychologically, I was just like, I'm not trying to work on music right now. And I told them what happened, and they were like, yeah, sorry to hear that, but if you can come up with anything, just get it to us by, it was like Thursday or something like that. And I was burying my dad like Wednesday.
No.
You know what I mean? So we do the funeral thing, after the funeral, and I took my family out to dinner or whatever. I literally came home, and my dad he's one of those kind of people that was like, you never quit, man. You don't quit on anything. You just try your hardest. Mm-hmm. And I literally had on my suit and my coat, came home, turned on my gear, never took anything off. Wrote the theme, recorded and mixed it, and then put it on a CD and ran to FedEx before they closed so I could send the CD out. Just because I'm not quitting.
Yeah.
And when they talk about the spirits or your ancestors' spirits, divine intervention, whatever you want to call it, I got the gig. You know what I'm saying? And then 2 years after that, they decided to revamp the show. And then it was called NBA All Access with Ahmad Rashad, featuring Saunders. Yeah. But they were like, we want it to be an orchestral theme.
Ooh.
And I know nothing about orchestral music. So I was like, damn, I'm not classically trained or anything like that. But guess what? I'm gonna do what I could do. So I sit down and I start listening to orchestral music and, you know, all kinds of stuff, just trying to understand where cellos play and violins and violas and all that stuff. Just trying to understand the balance of counterbalance and point and counterpoint in that type of music. You know what I mean? So I did that for about 3 days, and then I started banging
Writing.
some stuff out. Yeah, I started banging some stuff out. And I had to do like 6 revisions. And when I finally got it where I thought, wow, this is really dope. Like I'm proud of myself. I really did this. Everybody at the NBA loves it. But they're like, could you put some hip hop drums in there? I was like, are you serious? Like, are you serious? I just bust my brain trying to get this to sound like orchestral with timpanis.
You got timpanis going, yeah.
All that. And they want some hip hop drums. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, when we finish this, I'm gonna play it for you so you can hear what I'm talking about. Like, but it was crazy. But I was like, man, they killing me right now. And you know the company Spectrasonics.
Yeah.
You know, they have this plug-in called Stylus. It's a bunch of drum loops. All I did was just pick out a drum loop, threw that in there. Y'all go with that? Everybody was good.
Yeah.
Touchdown. You know what I mean? I got it. So that rocked for a while, and while all that stuff was going on, remember in the last podcast I was telling you about EMI, and I met a guy at EMI back when I had that deal with Capitol, and he was working for the publishing side, and they offered me a publishing deal back then, and I turned it down stupidly. Anyway, but because I thought this record's gonna be huge, I'm not gonna take money, and then I can negotiate a bigger deal later. You know what I mean? But it goes back to when you know too much, sometimes it kicks you in. You know what I mean? But anyway, now he's working for ESPN. He's the head of music at ESPN. So he hit me and was like, "Yo, we need a theme like really quick for this particular." It wasn't a theme. They just needed. It was sort of like a theme, but it was pretty directional. It was like they couldn't get a Biggie Small sample cleared. Yeah. So they wanted somebody to rap this thing, but they wanted it to feel like that. So I called up a friend of mine that's Biz. I wrote a beat real quick, did it, boom, boom, submitted it, and they were like, yeah, that's it, dope. From that point on, I started doing a lot of bed music for ESPN. That started in 2000. And right now I have like over 400 things on ESPN, you know. Just over the years, just doing projects with them. So yeah, that's how that
was how that came about.
Yeah,
that's funny. I think it may be NBA Inside Stuff.
Inside Stuff.
That was the name of that. But yeah, I used to love that show.
Right.
Yeah, that was my NBA on the. Yeah, when you said Ahmad Rashad. Yeah, just to clarify too.
Right.
Wow. I grew up listening to your music.
Yeah. Yep, that was it. Yeah.
Yes, I know that song.
Yo, if you remember the first one, it sounded something similar to what Ludacris would do. You know what I mean? The first one, because that's what they had. They were like, we wanted to sound like a track that Ludacris would be rapping on. You know what I mean? But just music. Yeah. So that's what I did. That was the first one, and the second one was the orchestral stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
And you figured it out.
Yeah,
in both.
You just got to figure it out.
Hip hop drums.
So that's from 2000 to now. I mean, that's a 17-year gig.
Yeah,
like, let's go. Like that's a good look.
Yeah.
And then the other good look, Beyonce.
Yeah. So
how did that come about? I kind of know a little bit about this story, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that was all right. I got a call from a friend of mine. He was like, yo, do you want a program for Sierra? And I'm like, program what? Like a keyboard? Like what are you talking about? Program? He was like, yo, I just know you got to know Digital Performer, and that's like the DAW my weapon of choice.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm like one of these kind of people. I'll try anything twice. You know what I mean? So just about anything twice. You know what I mean? So I was like, sure, I'll check it out. So I go down to SIR Studios in New York. I meet this woman named Kim Burse, who was the MD. And she was like, yeah, we just need you to edit this and that. And the guy that had Digital Performer on his computer didn't really know it that well. Yeah. And they needed somebody to edit quickly. So it was a 3-day gig. Knocked it out. It was for like Good Morning America or something, you know, where she performed in the morning or whatever. So I knocked it out. And then she was like, I like how you work. If I ever have another opportunity, I'll call you. So I was like, all right, cool, you know. Literally a year later, I'm hanging out in Chicago with a friend, and Kim Burse calls me. And she was like, I was looking for your number. I lost your number, and I had to call such and such. And I was like, hey, I just saw you on TV with Beyonce or Access Hollywood. It was one of those shows. And she was like, that's what I'm calling you about. You want to do a programming gig for Beyonce? And I'm thinking it's going to be another 3-day gig. And I was like, yeah, that would be cool. But I'm in Chicago right now. And when are you talking about it? Well, she's like, well, this is for a tour. And I'm like, are you serious? And I was like, well, I'm in Chicago. Like, I can't do it right now. Like, I won't be back till Wednesday. And here's the kicker. Okay, we'll wait. I was like, uh-oh. Like, that's pressure, right? Yeah. So I'm like, uh-oh, okay. So Wednesday, I fly in. I go straight from the airport to SIR. And I see Kim Burse, and I see the whole band, and it's an all-female band, right? Mm-hmm. So I get introduced to everybody, and I see this rig, and I see, like, this thing that says audio changeover unit. It's a big silver box. It was like 4 rack spaces. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm asking who is now one of my best friends, this guy Magoo. His name is James McGregor, but we call him Magoo. And I'm like, can you tell me what this is? And he was like, I don't know. I just know it controls both of these computers, and you can, if one goes down, the other one picks back up. And I was like, well, can you get me like the manual? Do you know if anybody has a manual for it? He was like, nah, this is custom made. I'm like, oh,
perfect.
God, like, great. Like, yeah, this is, okay, cool. Like, oh, shit. All right. You know what I mean, right? So I'm like, oh, man, this is crazy. I don't know what this thing does.
Wow.
I know
they were willing to wait until Wednesday. Let him figure out.
Meanwhile, they're like, okay, Kwiz, can you play and go? And I'm like, oh. So I got one side, I got one computer rocking, but I'm like, I don't know how to make this thing sync up. I don't know anything about this thing. So about an hour into the rehearsal, Beyonce comes. So I get introduced to Beyonce. Oh, this is Kwiz. He's the new programmer. And she's like really nice. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Whatever. So she's talking to Kim Burse, and I hear her say, I would really like to do Deja Vu, but I want it to be like a half step lower. So I'm hearing all of this. Like, I couldn't help but hear it because we're all in the same room. So here I go. Now, this is back when we're talking about using G4 computers. Like, so the processors weren't that fast,
Even for her. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Right.
that was just what was
Technology-wise.
Technology-wise.
Right. So.
And again, what is this, 2000?
This is 2006.
6, okay.
Yeah. So, no, this might have been a G5, but whatever it was,
Yeah.
it wasn't, the processors weren't that fast.
Yeah.
Not like they are now. So, I take a gamble, and in Digital Performer, there's this function called spectral effects, where you can do a lot of different things, but one of the things you can do is do pitch shifting. So I highlighted all the musical tracks, and I dropped everything a half step, but then I had to wait for DP to render it. So it took literally, it was, and at the time, there weren't really stems. These were literally the multi-tracks. So it was like maybe 35, 40 tracks or whatever, right? I highlight them all. I go a half step down, and I'm like, please hurry, please, like go, because I didn't want them to say, Kwiz, can you play? I was like, oh. And I'm only on one machine now because I don't know how to do this switch over thing, right? So luckily, they were still talking, and when they turned around, Kim Burse goes, Kwiz, we want to do Deja Vu like a half step lower. Is there a way you can do that? Can you make that happen? And I just hit play, and they played a half step lower, and they turned around. They were like, oh, like, right?
I got a goosebumps now.
Right.
You made it happen. You don't wait. Execute.
And I went, wow, like Bruce Lee.
Bruce
And
Lee.
everybody busted out laughing. And that's how I broke the ice with Beyonce. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was crazy.
But you were prepared.
Yeah, like they
All
say,
the hard work.
luck happens when preparation meets opportunity, right? So I luckily I was prepared to do something like that. So.
Oh yes, yes. A little backstory. That was how I met you was through Kim Burse.
No doubt.
So
No doubt. Kim Burse tied a whole lot of people
Oh
together.
my goodness! You know, I don't know. Do you know how I met her? Did I ever tell you? Well, I've told it before,
Right.
but I'll let you know.
Okay.
I met her through a friend of a friend gave me her number, and I had just moved here, and I was like, yeah, I want to mix, and I want to do live, and
Right.
and this person was like, yeah, I got Kim Burse's on. I was like, I'm not mixing anybody big to
Right,
be,
right,
like,
right.
hey, if you need somebody, baby, let's go,
Right.
So, I hit her up like once, and then she's like, yeah, I know, engineers.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, yeah, but if I will keep in touch or whatever.
Right.
Like 6 months later, we were friends on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
6 months later, at the time, you could see Twitter on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I saw her Twitter that her sister was having a show in the city.
Got you.
And she was like, hey, come out, support, da-da-da. And I was like, at the time, I was working actually 10 minutes from here at Claire.
Okay.
At the Claire style
Well,
company.
yeah.
And I was like, hey, if you need anything for this performance,
Right.
let me know. In-ears, mics, anything. Let's go. And I got a car, I could drive, whatever. And,
Right.
just let me know. No strings attached. I just want to help you and, help your sister have a great show. And she hit me back and was like, I need this, that, and the other. And I
Yeah.
brought that over from that warehouse. It was like, all right,
Right.
didn't ask me anything, but I ended up meeting you.
That's crazy.
So
Here we go, Kwiz.
That is crazy. That is
But that's why I
crazy.
tell people you got to give. If you don't, like, it wasn't up to her to do something for me, but I
Right.
mean, it was up to me to figure out what I could help her with.
Right.
If if that's, but it's all about getting in the room though.
Yeah, no doubt.
You have to get in that
that
room.
room, and you got to then make the move you can make.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
you
getting
never
to
know.
meet people like you. I would have never. You were doing playback, and then I was like, "Hey, Kwiz, I gotta come over there. You
Yeah.
got a studio?" Then that was it. I was
Right.
latched on. Once from that show though, and that was how we met. It just, just your advice and endorsements and all of that just like change. I mean, it gave us a business.
Oh, yeah.
That
That's
visit
so dope, man.
all those
Oh, yeah,
years
yeah.
ago,
That's so
so
dope.
that it just gets to grow even more,
Yeah.
so Beyonce and that whole crew, I've never even gotten to meet, but y'all got a soft place in my heart. So if
that's
y'all
what's
ever
up.
need something,
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's what's up, man.
definitely, you got to help people though.
No
That's
question.
another thing. Hey, if you need, you need a leg up, you got to help somebody first.
No doubt.
And what you did for yourself and helping other people like me and just, hey, all you got to do is listen.
Right.
And people still want to know, well, how did you? All I did was listen to something you told me 8 years ago and did it. And now it's grown into something
That's
so much
crazy.
bigger. So,
That's crazy, man.
so
Yeah.
shout out to Kim Burse. She.
Yo.
Yeah.
I think I do remember saying, whatever you do, make sure you diversify like your skill set. And all
Yeah.
that. And look at you guys are doing podcasts, you're mixing for like Christian. I mean, that's crazy.
I know, you knew
Y'all
me
are
from
killing
doing
this
nothing.
right now. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I turned around and was like, damn, Philip, what? Like I'm looking on Facebook, I'm like, Dennis, what? Like I'm
Exactly.
like, Dennis is giving advice to people, or like I'm like, oh shoot, they killing it right now. Like I see that, I see y'all.
Exactly.
I see y'all out
and
there.
that's from your seeds.
Man,
I mean, we're into our second businesses and stuff. So
you talk about
yeah.
goosebumps. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah, like,
yo, that's crazy.
yeah, but that's it. If you're trying to get in, people that's listening, and the heartbreaks, we all have those. Like
Right.
and that's just life. That's if
Right.
you're becoming a dentist or whatever.
No
I
doubt.
mean, you're gonna have these times, but man, you get to the right people and just know.
No, you just never know what'll happen. Man.
Exactly,
You never
exactly. I guess we'll go back quickly again to the tech part.
Yeah.
We want to
What's your-
hear what's the setup for a Beyonce playback setup? Is it still 2 stacks high of gear? Did you keep that setup, or you?
No.
You tweaked it.
You
Yeah,
totally.
oh yeah, I downsized crazy.
Oh, you.
No, because
All right.
Experience will teach you certain things, right? So I had probably a little bit more gear going on in the beginning, you know what I mean? And as I saw how things were flowing, I was like, you know what? Laptops are getting way more powerful processor wise. You know what I mean? RAM is a whole lot faster.
SSD hard drive.
SSDs.
I mean, yeah.
We could scale this down. So now I'm in one case, running 2 laptops, one case, one switcher, my Mo2 audio interfaces, my Mo2 MIDI interfaces. I'm using 2 MIF 4s, they're time code readers and generators. So I can send time code out to, my time code goes to the front of house desk. It goes to the monitor desks because they do their snapshots off of my time code. All of the video content comes off the code. All the lighting cues and all that comes off the code, and even the pyro cues come off the code. Yeah,
Okay.
as well as the audio that I'm spitting out. So, but it's all contained in a case about the size of this, just on wheels, and it's a little bit higher, obviously. But yeah, it's a 2-rack case, and that's it. Yeah, and it's a Paul Cox switcher. It's another custom switcher, but now like I have a some sort of a relationship with Paul Cox. So now, like the last switcher I had built, like I had a lot of input in what I wanted and how I wanted it to be designed. You know what I mean? So it's specifically designed towards how I like it to work. You know what I mean?
You're a good designer. Do you sell that setup to other people?
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I Imagine Dragons. I built their latest playback rig.
yeah.
You know, I did that August of 2017, I think. Yeah. I got a call about, they wanted somebody that knew digital performer, and they wanted a new playback rig, and they wanted it to be fail safe, and the one that they had was just not cutting it.
Yeah.
It was like one would go down and the other one wouldn't kick in, and it was just, it was not cool.
And they're a huge band. You can't have that happening at Coachella.
Listen, I knew of Imagine Dragons. I knew of maybe one song because of we did Glastonbury, and this is when they first came out, and that's when they first started to be big. They had that Believer, Believer. So I was like, oh, this band is kind of crazy. They got the big taiko drums on stage, and but that was the only time I really paid attention to them. So while I'm doing this gig, building their new system, I'm in their rehearsals, and I'm like, yo, I know that song. Oh my God. These dudes got mega hits, and licensing.
The licensing is really how they're
crazy.
killing. Wow.
Because this songs are all on the radio. Radio, commercials, everywhere, movies. They're killing it.
They are killing it.
I had no idea they were that big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I built their system, and I did another. No, I didn't do the Paul Cox thing with them because they didn't want to spend, because the Paul Cox thing is really expensive,
Yeah.
So I kept the switches they had. They had the radials, but I gutted everything else because the way the person that did their thing before was technically it was good, but the guy, he designed the system so you would always need him. You would have to. And that's not cool. You know what I mean? When you make stuff for people, you should make it so they can troubleshoot on their own. And then if they get to a certain point where they just don't understand the technology or whatever, then they make a call. Yeah. But you couldn't, like literally it was just like, oh, let me just gut this whole thing. Because this is crazy, the way that this guy has this. I mean, like literally he would cut cables to make everything fit so perfectly. But if you needed to move another one space down, the cable
you couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it. It was like crazy stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just, put another system together. I had, I don't know if you know Jan L cases, but Jan L.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he makes some incredible cases. So the case that I used for the Beyonce gig, I had one built for them, and just put a nice system together for them, and they're still rocking it. You know what I mean?
Hey,
so
you're an expert in that field, so I would trust your opinion.
Yeah, and speaking of, since we've been here, we even started. We've opened up a new gear, a new gear obsession for you, which we've been on for about a year now. But Wire World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad y'all put me on the Wild World. I mean, the thing is, I saw y'all at NAMM. You took me by there. You introduced me to the guy at Wild World. And I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't deal with wires right now. You know what I mean? So
you in the midst of what is now, what we now know is on the road. So we didn't know it, but
yeah, at that time, I think I was, what was it, Coachella? I was dealing with the Coachella.
Yeah, you were dealing with the coach. Yeah.
So I was like, yo, whatever, I'll check them out,
Yeah, but today we came by.
You come by with the Wild World stuff. You come by with the full complement. I put the power cable, like Dennis goes, yo, put it on your subwoofer.
Aurora 7.
The Aurora 7 power cable. I put it on my subs. Now, I know, people, and justifiably, people think, oh, man, these people with these expensive cables, they don't make a difference, whatever, because we've all done things like dealt with cables and cables and whatever. And we're like, yeah, I guess it's cool. Like, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, I done spent an extra $70 for this thing. Yo, I put that Aurora 7 on my subwoofer. The power cable. I didn't even get to put like the XLR.
Yeah, we just talking about power, people.
Literally, y'all sitting in the back of my control room, and even Dennis goes, see? And I'm like, I was like, this is crazy. How it tightened up.
Yes. All the interference that goes on in your in anybody's system, and you have a great system. Like you,
yes, your system
8
is
years
banging.
ago, I was flipping when I came here too. Like you have a really nice setup,
Thank you.
To make that go move that an inch further, and this went a mile. Right. I think with the shape of your sub.
Absolutely. I heard it immediately.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it was like what like maybe 4 or 5 bars played of that song, and I was like, oh hell no, this is crazy. And it's stuff that I'm currently working on mixes, so I know this stuff really well right now. It's fresh in my brain, and it's to hear that difference that fast.
Yeah, and that detail, so you can make the mix that much better.
Right.
And do it that much quicker, and not have ear fatigue, and because the more work you do, more money you can get people. Yeah. This is, we're taking care of families, and it's not just about the best gear. It's about, man, what can make you go quicker, faster, and get better clientele.
Yeah. Everything is more accurate.
Especially when you work for Beyonce, you got to bring best, right?
Oh my God! Like I can't even imagine rewiring my whole playback rig.
Please let us know.
Oh,
that's crazy.
We got to come to the show, and then we got.
That's crazy.
I can only imagine through the systems. your front of house engineer is it's gonna be when they hear it, they're gonna be like.
And we always get compliments.
Anyway, exactly. You
on
guys
the sound,
killer. Anyway,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I can't even imagine what it's gonna sound like because what I'm doing, like I have the Atom S3As, I have the A7Xs, and I have an Atom sub. I'm changing power and XLR on all of them to Wild World, and come on, this is crazy.
Yeah,
and I told you guys like, yo, my sub is not completely dialed in yet. Yo, that improved. I was like, man, maybe I don't have to dial it in anymore. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't know, man.
You can get closer to what the mix is. You're not guessing. That's my whole issue. Like just the wiring can make any monitor go to another level.
I'm just disappointed I couldn't try the USB because it's not long enough. But yeah,
I know. Next time, but
I'm going to get one anyway. Just I mean, like, listen, it's not like I don't trust. It's not like this is the first time you guys recommended something, and I was like, oh, like, I mean, when you put me onto something else before, I was like, yeah, this is real.
Oh yeah,
I need that.
Yeah.
And I got it. You know what I mean? I need these Wild World cables. I need them stat. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
That's crazy.
Yes. I mean, the clearness, the depth, it's mind blowing. And I'm just so glad to get more people on the bandwagon.
I need to get it on my mic chain too.
Woo!
So
yes, we do it on our tube mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Guitar amp.
Right.
Guitar amps.
Yeah. Wild World they doing something.
They
doing something over there.
Yeah.
They fucking around over there.
They're fucking
They're
around.
doing some things.
Yes, they are doing their thing. And they're in the U.S.
Florida,
it's local. Yeah, the shipping isn't crazy. Yeah, it's just check those cats out. Wow, Kwiz. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank y'all, man.
This is all love. Again, this is perfection and mastery, and always trying to push forward. Is what I learned from you, and to have something that we could pay it forward with you and fit you on the new stuff, man. This is fantastic.
Yes, indeed.
Again, thank you, Kwiz. Again, what's your info? Let the people know how to. Get in touch with you.
Yeah, you can learn more about me on www.kwiztronic.com. That's KWIZTRONIC.com. I'm on Instagram as Kwiz1. I'm on Facebook. Like, just Google me, sang.
Hey, exactly. It's fitting Kwiz, Beyonce, audio. All those keywords and this brother stuff is gonna show up.
One more thing. Check out the Backlight Chronicles project.
Please.
Yes. The Backlight Chronicles.
We're putting the link in all of the podcast stuff.
Cool,
yes,
cool.
But let's talk a little bit. We got to go back. Give me a little synopsis on that because it's very important and a great message.
Well, the Backlight Chronicles basically is it's a passion project that I came up with back when Mike Brown was shot and killed by the police. It just got to the point where like I was so frustrated with how African Americans and people of color are being treated in this country by the police that I just wanted to do an album, talking about that. But then as I was coming up with the music and thinking about the songs I wanted to be written, it was more than just that. It was deeper. It was just like, you know what, people need to have an understanding what it's like to be an African American in this country. You know what I mean? And then as an African American, like we have to understand how and why we're angry at a lot of things and how and what we can do to kind of like change the way we think in order for us to do better and just not fall for the okie doke that we usually fall for because it's just the way society is. It's like, okay, if this is the way society is supposed to be, that doesn't mean I have to act that way.
And you don't.
Exactly.
With the interactions we were just talking about, like there is help everywhere, but you got to be a part of that helping. You have
Right.
to be adding
No
to that
doubt.
fire, and you have to be doing something as well.
No
and
doubt.
doing like you coming up with music and constructive ways to put it out there. So
Right.
very, very love the project,
Right.
love the support behind it and everything.
And,
So
and
yeah.
every artist on the album, they wrote like incredible pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? My wife is on it. She's on this. She did the closing track called After Amen, and it's about basically Christianity and how we've been indoctrinated and controlled by Christianity. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's not about like, oh, I don't believe in God or anything like that. You believe what you want. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Believe there's a higher power or you don't. But at the end of the day, if you do believe there's a higher power, don't think that the Bible is the thing, the one and only document or the one and only doctrine, I should say, that we should be guided by.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it was written by men.
Seek the source.
Seek the source. And then it's also interpreted by men. So based on your interpretation,
Translated
exactly.
to so many languages.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And what was it? The King James Version was changed like a 1,000 times or something like that, or like some crazy amount of times. You know what I mean? It's like so it's just about like, you know, opening up and learning about yourself and having others learn about you. So maybe there's a dialogue that we can create amongst everyone. So like, yo, man, like I never thought of it like that.
And especially with, you know, we all travel in this room.
Right.
And we've gotten to see it all in all
Right.
these different countries. And I mean, really, is it that bad? Like,
Right.
if you really start traveling, you will really
Right.
start to dial that back.
But you know what?
A
You know what's
couple
crazy?
clicks,
You
yeah.
know what's crazy? Like I've been on every continent except for Antarctica, right? I've been around the world 5 times, right? The one common thing that I know for sure is everyone wants to be able to make a living, want to have a decent life, they want to take care of their kids if they have kids, they want to take care of their family, and everyone just wants to thrive.
Exactly.
We're all the same.
We're all
Yep.
the
As a
same.
human,
We all want
yeah.
the same things.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Turkey,
saying?
everywhere.
We
Yeah.
all want the
South
same
Africa,
things.
Russia, everybody wants the same thing.
Doesn't matter where you are.
And literally, I've seen it. We've all seen it in this room. We
Right.
all just want that. And
it's-
that's what it goes
And
down
at the end of the
to.
day, even when you look at, you know, people will be like, oh, it's racist. You know, yeah, there's a bunch of races out here, especially in the United States. But when you look at other countries and for instance, you look at Ireland, right? Ireland is predominantly a white country, right? White European country. But you don't see any physical difference, right? But the Protestants against the Catholics.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right?
these
I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, that was a thing. Like they were killing each
car
other.
bombs. Yeah.
So it's about
yeah.
tribalism more than it is about skin color. It's tribalism. We got to understand that, and we got to move from that to see if we can become better as a society, as a global society. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that project's about. So
Yeah.
I just want people to hear it. It's not even about making money. I just want you to hear it. It's on. If you wanted to hear the whole album for free, you can go on YouTube. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's not about the money. It's about listening.
Message.
Yeah, you know.
All right.
So yeah, but check it out.
Fantastic.
Hey, we got our own CDs. We're listening to
Oh,
it
yeah,
on the
no,
way
yeah.
back. So.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I did
that.
all the artwork too.
Oh, okay.
Did that on the tour bus.
All right.
Word. Hey, you're creative enough to do it on your own. So
Oh man.
I'm trying.
yeah.
That-
We have a lot to learn from you still.
Yeah.
Oh,
Doing.
Doing.
That's all you do. Just keep doing
Hey.
and moving that ball forward every day.
I'm doing it, but I have help too. So,
Exactly.
like, we
Yes.
all need help. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like you, like me, like we help each other out.
No doubt.
So all right, that is a fantastic way
Yes. Wow.
to end this. Wow, this episode.
Part 2.
Yeah, part 2
Part
with,
one was
with
mind-blowing,
Kwiz. If you haven't listened to that, please listen to it. Thank you again for listening. Please share. Please leave comments on iTunes. Rate our podcast. We're on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Podbean. Thank you from Kwiz, Dennis, and
Thank you.
myself. Let's go.
Let's go, guys.
For more information of booking 23DB Productions, visit their website at 23dbproductions.com. Like and follow 23DB Productions at Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter for the latest work.